The humanitarian burden globally is only growing as a result of climate change impacts and intractable conflicts that often don't have the requisite diplomatic off-ramps. Take the conflict in Sudan, which has now entered its third month as the prospects of a peaceful resolution fade fast.
Sudan is a story which has not got any better in the last weeks at all. I was fortunate enough to have some direct exposure to it some weeks ago, but it hasn't got any better. Access to Darfur remains virtually nil. Sudan is, from my perspective, a place of no hope at the moment, and a place where there is only everything to do.
Amidst the mounting tragedies in eastern DRC, where armed militia continue to terrorize populations despite decades of international attention, the issue of gender-based violence was described as utterly rampant.
It's a terrible shock, I hope even to all of us who are used to hearing about shocks and tragedies and horrors. This is beyond, for me, imagining. This is beyond imagining. The DRC, for me, epitomizes the appalling nature of man's inhumanity, mostly to women and girls. I will give you one statistic on this DRC. If the rate of gender-based violence instances that we know about would continue, and it's obviously going to be much more than what we actually know about, it would reach an extraordinary 125,000 cases this year.
With less than 10 days before the deadline to extend the landmark grain deal reached in Turkey between the UN, Ukraine and Russia last year, the Kremlin has yet to give a clear indication if it will renew the agreement over Moscow's concerns around continued obstacles to its own exports under the agreement.
I don't really know what's in the minds of the parties who will decide on renewal or termination in the middle of July. I see what they say, and I think what they say is really important. And we hear repeated statements from the Russian Federation saying that there's been no advantage to them and it's time's up. Well, of course, as the Secretary General has made clear, this doesn't deter us from doing everything we can to work for renewal. We know, the world has seen the value of the Black Sea initiative. It's, what is it, 32 million tons now and counting, and that even within, a slowdown recently. So this isn't something you chuck away.
All this, while a snapshot of all humanitarian funding appeals for 2023 shows that on average they are only around 20% funded. Of the multiple humanitarian crises in the world, from Afghanistan to the Horn of Africa, the occupied Palestinian territories, Haiti, Syria and Ukraine, among others, chronic underfunding of humanitarian appeals is making already tough choices that much harder. Martin Griffiths says the root causes are growing needs, be that from climate impacts in the Sahel and Horn of Africa to the needs that arise from man-made conflicts that often don't have the necessary political solutions. He called climate and conflict a killer combination, and a humanitarian community struggling to meet the moment. Sherman Riceby's SABC News, New York.